let's create and send our first email campaign. Before we do that, let's recap. We have learned how to create an email list. All right, we've created an email list. We understand the foundation of email marketing, the policies that runs email marketing. We now know how to create an email template. We've created an email template. We understand the importance of the sender email, domain-based email address. We've added it to our account. We've set up our email account appropriately. Now let's send our first campaign. But before we do that, let's just review a few things. First, warming up your IP address. If you're going to send emails from a new IP address, now an IP address is attached to every domain name. All right. This can get quite technical, but basically, say an IP address is basically a computerized address for a domain name. So for every domain name on this planet Earth, there's an IP address for that domain name. So if you're sending emails from a brand new IP address, basically meaning that if you're sending email from a brand new domain name, warming it up is a must. It implies a gradual increase in your email sending volume to tell ESP simply means email service providers that you are a legit player. When ESPs notice high email sending volume from a new IP address, they suspect that the unknown sender is spamming. As a result, emails can either bounce or land in the spam folder. Right, you're basically new. No one knows you, and then you just want to be sending out emails to people in large quantity. You need to warm it up. And one idea is like this. You send out the first batch. Let's say you have 10,000 email lists, basically 10,000 unique contact email addresses you want to send emails to. You've imported this email address to SendPulse, to your email list in SendPulse. Now you want to send emails to them. It's advisable you break them down into sections. Now you can do this yourself, or SendPulse can assist you in doing this. If SendPulse assists you in doing this, you will notice that your email will have a tag on it, which means partially sending or something like that. Or your email is your campaign is in moderation. So what is happening is that out of 10,000 email lists, SendPulse sends about 2,000 first and waits for that 2,000 to respond back. Right? You 2,000 go first. Let's see what happens. So the 2,000 goes out first. And then if the open rate is high, and if the bounce rate is low, which means your bounce rate should be low, should be between 0 and 5%. Anything above 5% raises a serious alarm. So if your bounce rate is low, it means that people are actually willing to receive your emails and they're willing to interact with your emails. Then SendPulse sends the next batch. Let's say the next batch is 3,000 or 4,000. And then if that email performs well, then the last batch is sent. The second time you're sending your campaign again, you notice that instead of your emails being sent in 2,000, 3,000, it could send 5,000 at a go and another 5,000. And then the moment your user base is responding to your emails, all right, you can actually now send the entire 10,000 email list in an instant and it will get delivered. So this is basically an important part of beginning your email marketing journey. Very important part. All right. Before you send out your email, you need to check your email for spam. Get into the habit of checking every email for spam before sending it. If you use spammy words or excessive exclamation marks by mistake in your subject, your email deliverability will be very poor. To stay on the safe side, you can either choose a third-party service, which is like this. We recommend is mailtester.com, or run an email spam check with SendPulse at the last stage. You don't even need to stretch yourself. SendPulse comes inbuilt with a spam checker, all right? But you can decide to get more information by using an external service. It's free, so there's not really much difference there. Now, why exclamation mark? Exclamation mark are regarded as stop words, and they've been flagged as spam words. So I think you might have a question, and the question could be, who flags these things? All right, what creates these flags, these spam flags, and why do they exist? And I'll give you a story. we are aware about the concept of scams, this concept of phishing, the concept of is it called phishing or phishing? The concept of black act marketing. These are basically dubious ways to reach people via email marketing, via email for dubious reasons, either to get them to buy what they don't want to buy or get them to get scammed, just like the famous Nigerian prince scam. So over the years, all right, email service providers have been cataloging all these kind of emails, and then they've noticed a consistent pattern and a consistent behavioral trend with all these emails. A Yahoo boy will send email the same way. They are not as educated as you expect them to be able to send email differently. They are always looking for the quick box. They're always looking to manipulate your mind. So they're always making the same mistakes to send emails, and that is designed to manipulate people. We have attack emails, scam emails. So they have this consistent pattern, and this pattern have been recorded and be used to flag any email that has this pattern is regarded as a scam. I hope my explanation makes sense. Right, so reduce the risk of email going to spam. What can we do to reduce the risk of your emails going to the spam folder? As a marketer, you do not want your email going to the spam folder because no one reads the email in the spam folder, and the spam folders gets deleted after 30 days in most cases. So first, send campaigns from email addresses with a corporate domain. Recipient email servers may reject or will always reject emails sent from free service like Gmail, Yahoo Mail, AOL, whatever alternative you can find on the market, are not designed for marketing emails. You need to purchase a domain and get yourself a corporate email. Avoid using stop words in subject, pre-header, and body of an email. Stop words can be buy now, free, promo, and all those words you understand. Do not use more than one exclamation mark. Use an exclamation mark like a human being. You cannot say promo and add 6 different exclamation marks, 3 different exclamation. They all mean the same thing. You're just trying to catch people's attention, right? Use a limited amount of fonts and amount of font colors and bold text. I want you to do an experiment. If you have an old email address, go to the spam folder and carefully look for an email that does not look too dangerous, and open it. You notice some pattern. You notice the use of red text. You notice the use of underlined text, the use of green text, basically to catch your attention, to drive your attention to certain things. Price, buy now is in red. Inconsistent font colors and bold text. So you highlight some important areas of your email. For example, 12-year-old boy become billionaire in 3 days. You highlight it in bold text, and you basically try to write an email like you are taking biology school notes and trying to emphasize some important areas. You notice that also gets flagged. Keep a good ratio of text to images. Text should be 60% of email content at a minimum. Let's keep going. Use alt text for images. Let's take a pause here and let me show you what alt text means, right? If image do not load, the alternative text will appear in their place. Right here, remember that we created a template right here, and we have an image right here. Once you click on it, you have this characteristic. You see that SendPulse has automatically added an alternative text for you, which I've highlighted right here. So in a situation where the internet is slow or the user's email service provider does not display images on first receive, instead of having a blank space here in your customer inbox, you need to have something, right, that describes the image. All right. So if your email the image is properly labeled, SendPulse will pick the name or the label of this image and use it as the alternative text. Right. So the point here is that this alternative text will display in place of the image if that image does not load up. Right, I think that's clear. Right. Make sure all the links in your email works. If you have links in your email, make sure you do not have broken links in your email. Then last but not the least, use a sender email address with SPF, DKIM, and DMARC records. Now, this might sound somehow technical, and they can be, but they're basically easy to understand and they're easy to implement on the SendPulse platform. Right. So what's an SPF? An SPF is basically a sender policy framework. It's a text record or a TXT record in the DNS zone of the domain that contains a list of email servers to indicate which hosts are authorized to send emails for a domain. All right. So they're basically a way to tell the receiver, this person is authorized to send emails. Okay. And having them will basically reduce the possibility of your emails dropping into the spam folder. We also have the domain key identified mail, right? All these processes are called authentication. You're authenticating your email, right? Email authentication. So we have domain key identified mail, which is DKIM. It's a method for verifying the sender's domain using an automatically generated digital signature. So you're going to have a digital signature generated by SendForce, which can be used to authenticate your emails. We now have the DMARC policy, which means the domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. All right, it's an email sender authentication policy based on the DKIM and SPF protocols. So basically, your DMARC records will take whatever it is you have in your SPF, whatever it is you add on your DKIM, and then make sense of it. All right, and here is let's take a look at how to implement that. But before we go into that, this is where you get to in while creating your first campaign that SendPost to tell you the problems with your email. Well, let's get into the practical. First, let's look into this DKIM and SPF thing. Why does it seem so technical, right? And what do I need to do and how do I implement it? It's pretty straightforward. Come to your account, right? This is your dashboard. Okay, go to service settings. And under service settings, just go to email authentication. And your email authentication, you can see we have domain authentication, SPF, and DKIM records, and we have the DMARC policy. If you click on activate, SendPost will ask you for your corporate domain name. Okay, so let's click on activate. You have to enter your domain name. Please do not add www or any other thing. Let's add SendPost, for example. So SendPost.com. This is how you enter your domain name. Okay, and then you click on generate SPF and DKIM record. Once you click on that, SendPost will generate a DKIM, an SPF and DKIM record, and a DMARC policy for you. To learn more about this, just click on the knowledge base right here to learn more. Right, you will need to know, you need to have access to your domain provider to add all these, and it's pretty straightforward. There's a video here that describes it pretty easily. So let's go into what we're here for today, which is now sending your first campaign. Okay, so a final recap. We have created an email list. Check. We have our email address. Check. We have our template. Check. And here is our template. All right, let's close that. Yes, save template. Now let's create our first campaign. All you need to do is click on my campaigns, click on new campaign. And here you have this campaign wizard, campaign creation wizard. So first thing, let's select a mailing list. All right. So we click on the drop down and we basically select test, or let's do test list. Okay. We click on OK. Then we have our sender email address. Now, mind you, I haven't added a domain-based email address. You can have, please make sure you do that. I want to show you the reason why I did not add this is I want to show you what happens when you don't have it added. If you have multiple domain-based email address, let's say you are a big organization or a mid-sized organization, and you have marketing emails coming from different departments, you can actually have multiple sender email address, and then you can click on the drop-down menu right here, and you can select other options. So let's add a subject line. Let's say welcome. Now I want to call the name of the person. I want to personalize this a little bit. And what would I do? I'll just come to the curly brace right here and I click on name. Okay, so I'll say welcome name. Okay, you can go further and add a criteria. If name does not exist, if name does not exist, it's empty, use there, right? And insert. Okay, let's click on next. Now let's select the template. Here are all the templates I've designed or created previously. And here's the template we just created. Let's click on select. And then send post will preview the template to make sure everything is fine. If you want to make changes, you can actually make changes right now by clicking on the edit button right here. You can see your pre-header. You can edit your pre-header separately. I think everything is fine. Let's click on next. And here we have the campaign parameters. You can decide you want to collect statistics on open clicks. And you can add more information by adding the Google Analytics if you want to. The unsubscribe page, you can have the default unsubscribe page, or you can create one you wish to use. And you make sure your language is still set in English. All right, I think I'll leave everything as this and I click on next. And now we are at the final stage. So let's look at it all over again. We have our mailing list, check. We have a sender name, which is a domain-based, which is not a domain-based email address, sorry, right? And we have our subject line. Then we have our email content. Our pre-header is set, and this is our pre-header. Okay, and now we have this red icon. What does this mean? And it's telling me that email services may regard this campaign as a spam. But why? Let's click on get recommendation, and then we can get a recommendation. So this is a very important point, right? Important step in creating your campaign. At this stage, you can know if your email will have problems before you actually send it out. So now what's the problem with our campaign? I think you've guessed it. We're using a free domain, a free email address. You can see it says this campaign. The campaign is going to be sent from an email address on a free domain. The recipient's email servers may send emails from free services, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, etc., to a spam folder. Add a sender email address on a corporate domain to reduce the risk of emails getting to spam. All right, we know the risk, and that's what I was trying to show you. So last but not the least, in sending your campaign are these two preciously important options. You can choose to send your email campaign right now, or you can choose to send your email campaign at a specific date. So let's click on send on specific date. Let's send it on Thursday, okay? And you could make sure that your time zone is set to Lagos, Nigeria, if you are in Nigeria. Another very important option is this resend messages to clients who didn't open. Now, let me explain this a little further. In a situation, you send out 5,000 campaigns, send emails, sorry, to 5,000 email list. And let's say you send it on the Thursday, in the afternoon. Out of all the 5,000, 3,000 of the recipients open your email. What is going to happen to the remaining 2,000 who haven't opened your email? Well, that's what this option is here for. Basically, SendPost will help you resend your campaign again to them after a specific period of time. So let's say we set our campaign to be sent on Thursday. If they don't open their email, send them another email on Friday. And there you have it. Then we can schedule our campaign, and there you have created your very first campaign. I hope this has been informative. See you on the next video.